Here we have a standard thrift store purchased DSi. Of course, that means it doesn't come with a charger, and I don't trust third-party ones very much. I would rather have a first-party, and they're kind of hard to find and slightly more expensive. I want to pay what is essentially a 5-volt USB phone charger. Everyone has a stack of those. They don't have a stack of the DS things. This adapter also, by the way, on the DSi is separate from a DS or DS Lite charger. Should be, from what I understand, the same as 3DS and 3D XL or something, but I don't for certain know that. But anyway, I've done the hard work for us, but we will show the process of getting polarity here. So if you notice, there's 2 pins in there, which I have the polarity marked. Here's essentially the connector. You know, you got the plastic over top, and then in comes the charger one, and it hooks on like this. But luckily, there are 2 little tiny holes where the pins that are at the bottom here have to actually press into to allow some spring. What that means is we can actually fit these standard little header cables right in there. Great, we've got that. Oh, and by the way, this does tell you 4.6 volts DC, but from my understanding, they will happily accept 5, and in my experience, it happily accepts 5. Maybe don't leave it on forever, I don't know. There should be a charging circuit in line, but I can't prove that. So now we've got this in there, we need to figure out polarity. Of course, I have it figured out, but you can't easily find that online. So let's show my easy method of figuring out polarity. Usually in most circuits, I can't prove that for all of them, the negative on the power rail will also be the ground of the rest of the unit. Headphones have their own little ground cable, so we can easily plug that in, set our meter to continuity, go to the ground of the headphone, and start picking pins. Sadly, of course, I grabbed a female header for things we'll use later. So nothing there. Dead short. So the black is our negative here. So if you look, the black is here. So we put the negative there, and the white end up being positive, so positive there, and that kind of shows you what the connector is. I wanted to put it down here, but it made more sense to be able to see it while looking at it and trying to put the connector in. So now that you've got this female header, what do? It is my firm belief that everyone should make one of these cables. Maybe one of the first cables you ever make should be this. Take some phone charger or something that is otherwise trash and whack a little standard 0.1-inch header on it, because you can use this for everything. Watch this. Here's our breadboard. Positive in this one. You should probably mark it in a better way, because not necessarily red and black will be positive and negative. There are exceptions. But since positive is red on this one, we just set this right on these 2 rails. Got these wires jumping across. This whole breadboard now has power. You can just stick this into any USB socket or little battery bank. Here, let's go grab a battery bank. So assuming that you have one of these, all you have to do is hook up power. So red goes to white, black goes to black. And if this works, by plugging this USB in, we will see the charge light, whichever one is the charge light. If I can work USB. And now it's charging. Ah, there's the icon. So we can see that it is charging from this mess. There's how to make a DSi charger on a budget. In fact, it's now portably chargeable. Even better than the official Nintendo adapter. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more tips and teardowns.